This is Gemara Sanhedrin, Daf Nun. We're holding 3 lines down in Mem Tesem and Beis, and all the learning should be an incredible zchos rafua shlema for Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva b'soich sha'ar chayli Yisrael. We're holding 3 lines into the wide lines, middle of learning a din of chalitza from Rabbi Yehuda, as we brought it down within this long and lengthier discussion that we were in the middle of yesterday of the different dinim of Rav Schaira and whether their order was specific or not. And we concluded yesterday with the line of Ulafuke mi mitzvahs chalitza, that what's going on over here is we are excluding from the mitzvah of chalitza that chalitza does not have to be in order. Ve'omer Rav Yehuda, as we're up to on the third white line, mitzvahs chalitza kaira. The mitzvah of chalitza is that she recites the barsha vikora, and he recites the barsha chayletzes. She removes reikekas and she spits vikaira, and she reads again. V'avinabon, we wonder, my kamashmlan, what is the chiddush over here? Masnisani. This is a straight up mishnah, 5 lines into the wide lines. Mem Tesem base. Hakamashmlan. You know what the chiddush is? Mitzvah achi. This is the mitzvah. This is the most appropriate way. But if you switch around the order, less one ba, it is not a problem. The Gemara brings a raya. It says, "Tina Rav Yehuda Tanami Achi Bein Shektim Chalitza Rekika Rekika Chalitza." Whether the removal of the shoe came first or whether the spitting comes first, says the Gemara, Masha Asay, that which is done, and therefore the order is not integral to the mitzvah of chalitza. Continues the Gemara, and the din of Rav Schaira again that we had previously at the end of the Amid of yesterday. So point number 1, we said it's excluding from this din of chalitza. Point number 2 says the Gemara, it's excluding from the following Mishnah Yuma. Says the Mishnah, Kohen Gadol. Says the Mishnah, Kohen Gadol mishamesh b'shmayne kelim, with his 8 vestments, v'hedyed barba. And what are these articles of clothing? Explains the Mishnah Yuma. Ksaynes, the shirt, b'chlasayim, the pants, misnefes, ube avnit, the hat and the belt. Moisvlein Kohen Gadol. These Kohen Gadol is another 4. The chayshen, the breastplate, the chayshen, the ephod, the apron type of garment, me'il, and the tzitz, which is our 8. V'tanya, we learned in a brayso, minayin shlei davar koydel mechlasehim. How do we know that the first thing the kohen has put on is his pants? Shenamar says the pasuk of mechsei badi el b'sarai, that has to be straight on his flesh. V'tana ma'itama akti liktoinis. And if that is true, why didn't the Tana say ksoinis first? Misham the kadme kra. The reason is because the pasuk says first. Ukra ma'itama akadme misham temachsei kule gufe adifa lei. Because since the ksoines covers the entire body, it is more significant, so it's mentioned first. But that is not the particular order, but rather the mechnasayim go on first, and that's the second din that we would be coming to exclude. 1 is again the din of the chalitza. 2 is the din of the begadim of the kohanim. Continues the Gemara, 3 lines to the bottom. Skila sreifa, quoting the Mishnah. Skila chamura misreifa. Says the Gemara, let's understand. Skila is more chamer than sreifa. Why? Shkenitna lemegadev ulavodas avodah zara. Because skila is the punishment for the megadev, blasphemy, and ovid avodah zara. My chumra, says the Gemara, what is the chumra of megadev, of ovid avodah zara, that he gets a more severe punishment? Because he's attacking, he's sticking out his hand into the ikr, into the fundamentals of everything. Ask the Gemara 1 second. Why? It's given to a daughter of a kohen that's mizane. What is the severity of a bas kohen that's mizane? She's mechalel. She's profaning her father. She's profaning the kahuna. So says the Gemara, in a way, that should be more chamer. As we turn over to Nunam and Aleph, says the Gemara in explaining why Megadef, why Ovid Avodah Zarah is more chamer than the Bas Kayin, that is Mizana. Says the Gemara, Kasavi Rabbanan, says the Gemara, Kasavi Rabbanan, the Rabbanan held Nisua Yaitzel Esreifa V'lai Asura. V'lai Arusa, The Rabbanan hold that the only Bas Kayin that is Chayim Misa is a Nisua. That's when she gets this punishment of Sreifa. However, V'lai Arusa, but not an Arusa. So explains the Tab Rashi, Kisavi Rabbanan de Masnisan on our Mishnah, Nisua Bas Kayin Yaitza Bechlal Nisua Bas Yisrael. 1 second, I'm sorry, everything is moving the wrong direction here today. Here we go. Mechanek Lisreifa Aval Arusa de Gavi Bas Yisrael Beskila Lo Yatza Bebas Kayin Bechlal Arusa Bas Yisrael. It's only a din by the Nisua. Omidavke Rachman al Arusa Biskila, since the Torah says the Arusa gets skila shmamina, skila chamura. So therefore we learn out that skila is chamer. So the Gemara is retracting. The Gemara is giving us a second reason to learn out that skila is chamer. Not because shepoishi yadei be'ikr, but says the Gemara another reason. From the fact that the Torah said that an Arusa bas kayin shemizaneh gets skila, not the same punishment as a nesua, says the Gemara, Shmamina skila chamura. That teaches us that skila is more chamura. What is the reason? The reason is because when it's an arusa, it's not only an avira, but also it's against the father. It's more of an attack on the kahuna, because the arusa is still living bebase Avia, still living with the kuna. So to be mezaneh with the arusa bas kayin is in a way being paigem, is in a way a hit against the kahuna at large. Let's just see one more Rashi. That she goes to skila. Why? Says Rashi in the first narrow line. You have both. Because of Hechmer allowed on Nesua Bas Yisrael is Bechenek, which is more lenient, and Arusa is Beskila. So that's the second Mekar, says the Gemara, that Skila is more Chamer. Now comes next. That's Skila versus Sreifa. Says the Gemara 3 lines down, Skila Chamura Misayif. How do we know that Skila is more Chamer than Sayif than beheading? Oh my chomra kedamar, and like we said, Poisha Yad Be'ikr. Ask Gemara, no, Hadra B'Sayiv Chomer. Why shkinin l'anshi erni dachas? The people that erni dachas get sayiv. Oh my chomra shkemin moinan avad. The chomra of the erni dachas, that even their money is destroyed. So ask the Gemara, maybe we should prove to us that sreifa. That maybe it should prove to us that sayiv is more chomer. Answers the Gemara, Amarta izeh koyach meruba. Koyach hamediach, oi koyach hanidach. Havi oimer koyach hamediach, v'tanya. We learned in our Braisa, Madiche yer nidachas biskila. The Madiche yer nidachas are the ones that get skila. So proves the Gemara that as much that the mominus is destroyed as well, but those who actually commit the crime, it is more chamer. Let's just look at a Rashi for a moment. Important Rashis today. Rashi towards the end of the narrow lines, Rashi says, in the parak later on, we learn out Taima umidimadiach beskila when he dachan bisayif. That's where we know Shema Mina that skila is chamura. But continues the Gemara. Okay, so now we know skila is more chamur than sayif, and we know it's more chamur than sreif. Says the Gemara, skila chamura michanek. Where do we know that skila is more chamur than strangulation? Omay chamura kedamar. Adrabah asks the Gemara, chenek chamur shkinit lamaka aviv imay. One is chayiv chenek if he hits a parent. Umay chomra shkinokish kvaydan. The kavod makam. The kavod of a parent is hukash is compared to the kavod of a kaddish baruch hu. So hitting a parent, it's a mamish mayrid in everything. Answers the Gemara. Medavki rachmana la arusa bas Yisrael mechlal nisua bas Yisrael. And what? And arusa bas Yisrael the lacha is goes mechanek leskila. So therefore we see shamina skila chamura. So that's how we've learned so far that skila is more chamer than everything. The next type of killing, says the Gemara, is sreifa. Sreifa chamura misayiv. I don't know, sreifa is more chamer than beheading. Shkeinin labas kain shezinta. Umay chomra shkein chalel sasavia. Adirabba sayiv chomer shkeinin lan she'eni dachas. Umay chomra shkein b'monanav. The money's lost. Nemar avia b'skila v'nemar avia b'sreif. Ma'avi amura b'skila skil chamura misayev. Avavi amura b'sreifa sreifa chamura misayev. Next, reifa chamura mechanik, and of course we can have 4 death penalties. So the first skila we have to prove is more chamer than everything. The second one is sreifa we have to prove is more chamer than 2, etc. Shkenin lebas kain shezinta ma chamer ken amar and other have chenek chamer shkenin lemaka aviv. And again, these are all just the cases, the dinim that we've seen, just putting everything in order. And again, the punishment of the Nesua Bas Kohen goes from Chenek up to Sreifa, clearly a more severe death. Therefore, we know that Sreifa is more Chamer. Continues the Gemara, we've done with Sreifa. Now we move on to Sayif. Sayif Chamer Mechanik, how do I know? Asking Gemara, concludes the Gemara. Pashid Ikar is more fundamental, is more severe than other types of Avirus. And we continue on the end of the narrow lines. Rabbi Shimon Omer, quoting the Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon argues. And he says, Sreifa comes first. Sreifa Chamer Meskila. How does he know that? Says the Gemara. Shkeinidna. Labaskain Shazinta. Machomer Shkibal Savia. Adra Meskila Chamur Shkeinidna. Lemigade Oivid of his Chavim. My Chomra. Shkibashad Baker. So answers the Gemara. What is Rav Shimon's Shita? On the third wide line, Rav Shimon L'Taimei. Ta'amar. Achas Arusa. Achas Nisua. Yatsa L'Sreifa. Rav Shimon argues in the punishment of an Arusa Bas Kohen and a Nesua Bas Kohen, therefore the whole pecking order is going to change. Says Rav Shimon, therefore it's going to teach us that Sreifa is more Chamer. Continues the Gemara. Now we have to go according to Rav Shimon. Sreifa was upgraded. How do we know? Now we know it's more chamer than skila. How do you know it's more chamer than sayif? Says and chenek. Says the Gemara, Skireifa chamura mechanek, again within shitas of Shimon. Shkin el baskein shezinta my chomra k'namar and adar chenek chomer shkin el makav v'imay umay chomra shkin okich v'adar kvar makam. But the aver achman l'shu baskein mechal l'shu bas yisrael mechanek l'sreifa shva mina asif chamura. Next, reifa chamura b'sayiv. How do we know? 3 lines on the bottom. Shkeinin bas kain shezinta my chomra k'namar and adar b'sayiv chomer shkeinin el lan she'er nidachas my chomer shkein man avad. I'm looking basic kaich more kaich with the kaich and the chavi aimer turning over to none of my base kaich hamidia v'kam v'chaimer Oma chedesh chomer misayif shev chamura mimenu. Now this kav v'chaimer only works in the world of Shimon. That if we're going to say that chenek is more chamer than saif, and if we're going to say that chenek is more chamer than saif, sreifa is more chamer than chenek, sreifa akala kol shkein. Says Gemara, skila chamura mechanek. So now next, again, according to Shimon, sreifa is on top, skila is next. So I have to prove skila versus everything. Shkein el migadel v'el chavim. Or my chomra can amar now there b'chenek amar shkein el makav v'imay. My chomra shkein hukash kvoy down the kvoy makam. My avker achman la rusa bas Yisrael. Chal nesua bas Yisrael mechanek l'skila shamna skila chamura misayv shkein el migadel v'adr avasayev chamar shkein el anshi anidach. Chaz my chomra shkein memoynana. But amr v'chezik achmur v'kam den kol nidach. Havi yomer kamedech v'kabel chaymer ma chanesh chamar misayv skila chamar menu sayv chal lo kol shkein chenek chamar misayv. Now we go to number 3, chenek. How do we know it's more than sayv? Shkein nitain Lemakavavimai. Umay Chomer Kinamarn. Azra Rabbi Saiv Chomer asking right now. Saiv Shimmer Chamshin in Lan Shini Dachas. Umay Chomer Ashkim on an oven. Amri v'chaviz kayach beruba kach mediach kayach. Ha nidach says the Gemara v'yomer chamediach. But tani mediach yor nidachas v'skila. Shimon aimer b'chanek. Shimon says it's b'chanek. That's how we know that chanek is more chomer, and that is the machlekes of Shimon the Chachamim, and that is where everyone learns it out from. Continues the Gemara, Margula de Pume to Rav Yechanan. Once we have Rav Shimon, once we have the Chacham, says the Gemara, it was Margul, who was accustomed to be in the mouth of Rav Yechanan, Naira Amurasa, Paskayin Shezinta Beskila, Shimon Aimer Bisrefa, Zinta Me'avia Beskila. If she was Mizaneh with her father, she gets skila. Shimon Aimer Bisrefa. My Kamashlan, what is the Chedesh l'Rabbanan? What is the Rabbanan coming to teach us? Says the Gemara, Nisua Yatza l'Sreifa, but V'lei Arusa. L'Rav Shimon, Achshuv Nisua Yatza l'Sreifa. V'taima Mai, Mishad l'Rabbanan, Skila Chamura. Rav Shimon, Sreifa Chamura. And that's really the parting line. That's really where everything boils down to, is that which is more Chamer. It's a fundamental machlekes of Shimon and the Chachamim, like we just saw, whether it's skila or rather it is sreifa. Concludes the Gemara, nafka mina. What's the difference going to be? Mishes chayiv shtei misas bebezdin nidin bechamura. You're only going to get the more chamer take a misa. We'll stop over here. We'll pick it up from my Rav Shimon b'siyata dishmaya.